Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Twizzler back here in the deconstructed office. In case you guys wondering why the place is an absolute mess and all the lights look weird, well, it's because we are moving. All the moving people came today and, well, everything's gone. So that means I had to strip down my whole office, and this is what we're going to be stuck with. Please ignore the bin bags and all of the other crap, because there's crap everywhere that we have to throw out, pack up, decide what we're bringing, give to charity shops, sell off and stuff before we head to Texas. So with all of that being said, let's get into today's video. So yesterday I was playing, or rather spectating, Hunt Showdown matches with Games with Death and with Pep. So while we were spectating these matches, Death was asking us, why do we like Hunt Showdown? Why, what makes us excited about games like Tarkov and the likes. So I just wanted to take, this video as an opportunity to talk about why people like Tarkov and why people like games that are similar to Tarkov, and why every, extraction-based shooter that comes out always ends up being compared to Tarkov. And I guess we'll start with, the beginning. So Tarkov is basically the first of its kind, really, as an extraction-based shooter where everything that you go into a raid with, all the gear you bought with your hard-earned money, can be immediately lost to more or less anything on the map. Any caliber of gun can take you down, and one mistake, one wrong, instance of movement against an AI or another player could net you a massive loss that you will not make back. And it's just the fact that Tarkov is a game where you, when you earn money in that game, it feels good. It feels great having millions and millions of rubles. It's like a flex, on your friends. And, if you're a streamer, all these streamers out there that have hundreds of millions of rubles, couldn't be me. I've got like 400k right now on my account that I reset. But it's just one of those games where you put so much time into it and you actually end up being rewarded for the amount of time that you spend playing the game. Unlike other titles, like other FPSs, Call of Duty. And I'm not going to really mention competitive shooters like Counter-Strike and Valorant, because those games kind of go into their own category. It's not fair to compare them. And at the same time, I guess it's not really that fair to compare them to Call of Duty either. But just for the sake of argument, let's just say, Call of Duty, Fortnite. I know Warzone is a battle royale, but I'm kind of more so looking at the shooting mechanics of multiplayer Call of Duty that a lot of people are into. And then same thing with Fortnite. It has its own gimmicks, building BR and all that kind of stuff. So the whole extraction shooter genre really kind of rose from the BR genre. It's kind of like a hybrid, because a lot of people, when they look at a game like Tarkov, when they don't know what it is or they're not familiar with what an extraction shooter is, will look at that game and immediately think, oh, so it's a battle royale. But it's actually very different to that. You can actually go through an entire raid in Tarkov, not shoot a single bullet, and leave, and still make a ton of money and make a ton of progress, be it completing your quests, gaining money, and finding other items that you need for your hideout and stuff like that, and leveling your soft skills. Whereas, in a battle royale, you go in there and your only goal is to survive. And even in a battle royale, you can make it so that you're only against the last person who's alive if you choose to play it that way. So, they have that kind of crossover to where, you can get your stuff, you can play carefully, you can play slowly, or you can be a baller and you could be like Shroud or something and just go in and absolutely shit on everybody that you see. And I think that we have this playstyle difference between battle royales and games like Tarkov, to where it makes it accessible to everybody, because no matter what your skill level is, you can choose to play slowly, you can choose to play carefully, or you can choose the W key, or you can be somewhere in between, or you can, pick and choose your playstyles depending on the situations. And as hard of a game that Tarkov actually is, when compared to other really high skill cap games that are also battle royales and stuff like that, I feel like getting wins in Tarkov is a substantially easier task. If you are, somewhat well versed and, you understand the maps and you understand the flows of the maps, and you understand what fights you should take and what fights you shouldn't take. So that for me is probably one of the reasons why Tarkov all of a sudden blew up and became somewhat of a mainstream game, because it had that very, very hardcore audience. A lot of the people who came from DayZ moved to Tarkov. And now we also have been seeing lots of pro players, the likes, players from TSM and all these other teams that have actually been coming over and main gaming Tarkov now for a really long time. It's just for that reason that these people were all very good at battle royales, and winning battle royales was no big deal to them, dropping 20 kill games and winning or whatever like that. And that has all of a sudden stopped being a challenge to them. And now these players have moved over to Tarkov and they can't transfer those skills, and they found that in their first couple of months of playing it, there was a big adjustment period. There's a very, very big skill cap difference in Tarkov when you compare it to other games. Now, is there, you know, comparable skill gaps? Of course there is, but Tarkov is also very, very different in regards to how the gunplay works, because in battle royales, let's say PUBG, for example, you pick up an M4, you know, you get your vertical stock, you get your vertical foregrip, you get your stock, you get your extended mag, you get, you know, your muzzle breaker, your suppressor, or whatever. So you know what to expect every single time you grab those attachments. But the only comparable is that, like, maybe you didn't find a certain attachment for a gun that you like running in PUBG, and then you had to adjust and get used to using that gun without, you know, X attachment on it. Whereas with Tarkov, if you really like a certain gun, you can just load into the raid with that, provided you have the money and you have the trader levels in order to purchase it and actually run the thing. You actually have freedom in that game to run kind of whatever you want and whatever you're feeling like. Like, some days you might get up, be like, you know, today I'm feeling SMGs, today I'm feeling DMRs, today I'm feeling shotguns. Let's go around with that in shotguns. Or, hey, maybe today I feel like an asshole and I'm gonna go run a vector with, you know, like Luger CCIs or rip rounds or something like that. The variety in, like, the different armor sets that you can wear that will give you different mobility bonuses on top of leveling your soft skills, on top of all the different ammo types, the different mag sizes, the different ways that you can customize and really make your guns your own, I think is why a lot of people find Tarkov to be a very at-home place for them. It's interesting when you compare the weapon customization in Tarkov to other games of a similar genre. So I'm mostly going to be talking about, let's say, Marauders, which, guys, full disclosure, Marauders, very early access game, okay? They've got a long way to go. They've got a lot of stuff to do. So I'm not going to hate on it too much, or at all, really, because I think Marauders is a fantastic game and I think it's very fun. But another game I'm going to mention is going to be Cycle Frontier and also Hunt Showdown. So we're going to start with Hunt real quick. So the reason why Hunt, in my opinion, is one of the best games within the extraction shooter genre is because they don't have to have all of these wild different weapon attachments and stuff, because their gunplay is so well balanced and works so well, and all the animations are fantastic. And every time you get a kill in Hunt Showdown, I would argue that it is probably the most satisfying feeling in the world to one-tap headshot somebody in Hunt Showdown. I'm not sure if there's any other game that has accomplished that. I haven't seen it yet. Also, the map design, the setting, the sound design is also incredible. Sound design is one of the things that Tarkov, it's got, look, the sound design of Tarkov is great, but the directional audio is one place that really lets EFT down. And another game that also got let down by its directional audio was also Cycle Frontier. And for me, the game also became overrun with cheaters, and I basically couldn't play the second map very much. And so I just stopped playing it because I was sick of dying to cheaters. And then Marauders, very new game on the scene, but if you guys are watching this and you guys haven't seen it yet, I would absolutely recommend you go give it a try. I think it's out in like an alpha now, and I think if you've pre-ordered it, you can play it. It's not too expensive, and I think the game's actually like launching next month into like its early access thing where they're going to, you know, keep developing it and stuff. But that game does have a long way to go, but god damn is it fun with friends. All of these games seem to be things that people play when they're kind of had their fill of EFT, you know, but none of them quite scratch the same itch that EFT does. The only game for me that kind of scratches that EFT itch would really be Hunt Showdown, because it is as hardcore, you know what I mean? Like, losing like multiple raids in a row in Hunt Showdown can really, really hurt your economy, and it really does feel terrible when you're down to your last few loadouts and you're like, man, I've got to use free hunters with like terrible gear. Man, this sucks, dude. I just want to get to this level so I can prestige, or I just wish I could have one or two good runs so I can fund a couple of, you know, decent-ish loadouts or whatever. Some of those games that really sting as well when you lose a loadout, which is one of the nicest things about EFT. Everything you do matters. Every loadout you bring out matters. Unless you're doing mega budget runs and your loadout is literally under 30k. You know, most people run like average loadouts that cost like at least 100,000 rubles, and for some people that can take a while to get. I'm kind of don't see this anymore, because as a player who's been around the EFT scene for, you know, 5+ years at this point, 100,000 rubles is nothing to me. I can go earn that in a single scav run that'll take me 10 minutes, you know what I mean? And if I spent the entire my scav run looking around and grabbing stuff, I could easily make 300-400k. But that is also one of the beautiful things about EFT, is that the learning curve is just phenomenal. If I could, I would love to wipe all my memories of ever playing EFT and start playing it from scratch again, so I didn't know everything about the game. Because for me, this isn't even a bad thing, but for me, the most fun I had in EFT was probably my first 2 years playing it, where I was really learning the game. And unfortunately, you know, we're never going to be able to get that time back, and it'll never be quite the same again. But Jesus, those first 2 years was so much fucking fun. Just learning and just experiencing and just like watching the community grow and watching the game change. And every day I got on, it was something new. Like people come to chat, say, hey, did you see we found this on this map? And you know, everything was so new and we were learning everything together. And it was a real like community effort for EFT to come to the point where it is now. It was definitely one of the best experiences I've had so far on Twitch, was just watching that community grow, everybody coming together and just having a good time and just theory crafting and, you know, making all this amazing content. And I think that's just one of the things as well that makes Tarkov great, is the community. Sure, there's a few bad eggs in there, but for the most part, lads, I've met some of my best friends through this game. I'm sure a lot of you guys have met a lot of great friends through this game as well. It's just one of those games that's always going to have a special place in my heart. And, you know, whether or not at some point in the future that I move on to something else, or whether I stick with it, I will always remember the time that I had with EFT. And if this isn't a good enough video to make you guys, you know, want to go and pick up EFT, I don't know what will be. So that was kind of just my little rambling point about, you know, what makes EFT special to me. You know, I could go into more detail. You know, the bosses are cool, the level designs are great, you know, the sound design, all that other crap. Like, I could go into all that, but I feel like you guys already know all that. So I was just making my point there as to why I think that EFT is a great game. And I know a lot of other people do, and a lot of people are very excited for the future of the game. I'm just excited for Streets of Tarkov. So guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. Leave your comments down below, leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And I will see you guys on the next video. Peace out, my dudes.